Internet. It's Paul. It's Matt, the Dork Lords. We are here talking about Umbrella Academy. Season 1, episodes 7 and 8.
Yes.
The day that was, and I heard a rumor. So we're getting close to the end. So the next time we talk,
we'll be
wrapping this up with episodes 9 and 10. I was convinced that, I was right about Leonard being Harold. So Leonard Peabody equals Harold Jenkins. We learned that.
Yes.
But I was convinced that Harold was going to be somehow in that mix, and he was going to have the missing eye, which he apparently does.
Yeah, it looks like it.
But that he was, I don't know, I felt like he was going to be the main threat that they had to try to overcome, but it seems like he doesn't actually have powers of his own.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm a little more like,
Right, and since it appears that the action of pulling out his eye, if he doesn't have any actual powers, the only thing I can imagine is I'm going to pull out his eye, and then his sister, Vanya is angry and then blows up the whole world. I mean,
you think the actual pulling the eye is what causes it?
Maybe she's so mad at that, or they're like, "Oh, this guy, we got to pull out his eye." I mean, that's all I can think. That sounds stupid, actually.
All right, and actually, as we talked here, I've just come up with a reason why maybe pull the eye. All right, we've got this version now where, as we see at the end of episode 8, the gang is more or less together.
Yes.
Of course, Allison looks like she's dead. But okay,
yeah.
The rest of the gang.
Yeah, the rest of the gang.
The rest of the Scooby gang. Okay, Luther knows.
Yes.
That, hey, this eye is important. This eye helps track down this guy.
Yes.
So maybe he grabs the eye as a way of saying, when we go investigate, it's one of those, like, note to myself, grab this so that in the past we'll know that this eye was important, and then we'll track, maybe. I don't know. Although, in this moment in time, the eye hasn't actually, they don't know it's important yet. Will it even be important?
Well,
they kind of track it down without it.
The only person that knows is important is 5.
True. But I mean, in other words, even he didn't use it to find the person. His way of finding Harold Jenkins was, hey, I'll go to commission.
Right.
They'll tell me.
Right.
So maybe it was a dead end.
One thing they can do, Allison is the one that knew that he got attacked. So she is the one who could know that he needs a new eye.
Good point. I'm just wondering, because they also, I believe, if we remember from that post-apocalyptic version, it had like little bits of stuff on it. Am I wrong? It had like pieces of eye tendons or something, or was it a clean eye? That's the thing. Like, was it?
Well,
just
it was
I
in
had
his
my
hand,
pocket.
right?
There it is.
Yeah. Well, I think it was his hand was on it, right?
If he got the idea that he'd ripped it.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so I'm more confused.
That'd be worse if it wasn't in his eye at the time. Like, we're gonna get this eye. What? No! Boom!
All right. Well, let's track this back real fast.
Like the doctor. Let's put it in his head. Don't do it.
Maybe that's it. They were doing the surgery. They're like, you know what? This will be really helpful for you. No. All right. So we see the backstory for Leonard/Harold in the beginning of episode 7.
Yes.
And it's a pretty tragic little tale.
Sure.
He is born on the same day as the Umbrella Academy.
Yes.
So he grows up thinking, I've got powers too. I must be awesome.
Now this occurred to me, a reason why maybe he's not awesome is because it seems like the woman, his mother, was actually pregnant.
Right, no, agreed.
Yeah.
So he is not like those other people that were spontaneously pregnant. It mentions it was a normal pregnancy, and of course she died in childbirth, so that's not normal.
I wonder if that's related in some way, though. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Interesting. Agreed.
It's like maybe if
is the turnabout that he actually does have powers? In other words, what you're saying?
No, just like if the fact that this event occurred that made everybody pregnant, the actual women who were pregnant, if they were somehow you were all going to be stillborn or whatever, and that would be very interesting.
Okay, all right. They have 2 episodes to wrap that up.
That could be season 2.
Okay, it's a season 2. I don't think this guy's going to survive to season 2, but okay.
But if there are other people like him,
correct. Good point. So this guy was born through a normal pregnancy, but it happened to be on the same day as the Umbrella Academy. He's got this alcoholic, lone dad.
Yep.
Although I'll say, like, their house seemed to be reasonable. Like, it seemed like the guy must be able to hold down a job. I don't know. Anyway, he's a functional alcoholic. And they hired someone to clean up because it seemed like the place was generally put together. It wasn't just like beer everywhere. And, I don't know. Anyway. All right.
Maybe the kid cleaned up.
Maybe the kid is really good. That's his power. So it's a bad relationship, and the dad's physically and emotionally abusive.
Yes.
But he dreams of being like the kids in the Umbrella Academy. And so one day he goes to their mansion, he dresses up, and now he's probably in his early teens, 12, 13, maybe something like that, 10.
I don't know. I feel like I feel like he was less than...
Okay. Certainly less than 15.
Yep.
But somewhere in his, so he's a kid. And he jumps the little barricade and he's like, I'm with you guys. You don't understand. I was born on the same day. Take me into the Umbrella Academy. And Reginald Hargreaves is a jerk to him publicly. It basically publicly shames him. Yes. Everyone laughs at him. Yep. It basically says, you're ordinary, go away, you're nothing.
Might as well give him like a rifle or a bomb. Please kill us with this.
Please let this come back later.
Stupid.
To harm us.
Yes.
Now, we were talking a little bit before this, like what would be the rationale? On its face and even in depth, it seems like just a horrible thing for Reginald Hargreaves to do.
Yep.
Here's a guy, he just is unfeeling generally.
Yes, he is.
I suppose perhaps his reasoning in his like cold computer logic way was, I'm going to help this guy because if he thinks he has powers and he actually doesn't, when he goes to try to stop a criminal or something, he will
have a rude awakening.
He'll die.
Yes.
He'll be killed horribly.
That's
so
right.
I'm going to squash that impulse now.
There you go.
Save him.
Good idea.
Yeah, great idea. Does not work. He does then kill his abusive father with a hammer.
Yes.
Like, whoo.
Yeah.
And goes to jail for that crime?
Yes.
I mean, he goes to jail for sure.
He
but
goes
I think
to jail
it's
for that,
crime.
yeah.
Okay. So he spends a dozen years in jail for killing his dad.
Yes.
Essentially what you've got is the character syndrome from The Incredibles. Hey, I like you. You're awesome, superpowered. I could be your sidekick. No. You are nothing. Oh, yeah? Flash forward 20 years and I'll show you. Whatever. So yes, that is his backstory. He plays with the miniature. He's got the comic books. He's got the figures. That's why he steals that figure.
Yes.
Because I think he was missing the Reginald Hargreaves.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
So maybe he got the...
Okay.
I don't know if it's like a voodoo doll collection. I don't know. But Vanya is still clueless about this guy.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Oh, because she had figured it out. At the end of remember with the day that wasn't. At the end of that day, she found the book. She's like, "What's this all about?" Now we don't know what she would have. Maybe he could have. Maybe he could have manipulated his way out of it. But feels pretty reasonable that she would have had some suspicions. Anyway,
and it does. I mean, I guess she had a revelation in that first time of using her powers. So it wasn't. He didn't need to have his ass kicked.
True, but she was still fighting the idea of using her powers.
Yeah. I'm just saying that she also had. She knew that she had some kind of powers. Except it wasn't a much. Actually, if he hadn't come back, apparently now I'm wondering if it would have happened.
Wait, if he hadn't come back, what do you mean?
So if 5 hadn't come back in time, now I'm wondering if it would have happened at all.
Oh,
the end of the world.
Oh, I see what you're saying. In other words, he fixed things, but he actually broke things.
Yeah, right. Because then she would go, oh, and then maybe she'd go boom and blow him up, and then they could all live happily ever after.
Right, because Vanya seems to be our main villain, or at least main force to be reckoned with.
Yes.
Now, by the end of episode 8.
Yeah.
And so you're saying that maybe she wouldn't have been that force to be reckoned with. For one thing, she probably doesn't, at least for now, in the next 3 days, hear about Allison's betrayal.
Right.
And so that seems to be a huge trigger.
Yes, that's true.
That's a major thing to have.
That's a trigger, and she certainly would have had. She could have left without having to be. I have to get you out of here, away from that crazy guy.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's because we're talking about it. We'll jump to the end.
Yeah, we are.
We'll fill in the gaps here, but at the very end of episode 8, that's where we get some major dramatic moments here, and that is Allison has tracked down Vanya. And she is well aware that Harold Jenkins is, Harold Jenkins, for one, has his criminal file on hand. He was a murderer, and they've also been to Harold Jenkins' place and found they have, he has figures of them, and then all the eyes are gouged out. That's a pretty big sign. Anyway, so she goes, she finds...
And she's not even suspecting this guy when, he conveniently disappears, the one witness to the fight.
Right. I don't know that they knew that at the time.
No, they didn't know at the time. I'm just saying, though, that conveniently he's gone.
Yeah. Right. You mean the witness is gone?
Yes.
As well. Right. Yes. She goes to the hospital. Yeah. Oh, the witness disappeared.
Yeah.
Really?
We got one more question for you. Do you know this guy? Oh, stop. He needs to rest.
He can't say yes or no.
No, he can't.
He can't possibly
do it. He's got to rest.
So anyway, okay. So Allison goes to find Vanya at it's Harold's grandma's cabin, and there's Vanya, and there's no Harold. So it's like, oh great, we can get you out of here. So she's like, you need to come with me right away. I've got a file in the car. Didn't bring it with me.
No.
Vanya is like, I'm not believing a word you say. She does. I'll give Allison credit for this part. She does spell out what's wrong.
Yes.
Guys, his real name is Harold Jenkins.
Yes.
He's been in jail for murder.
Yes.
And he's been gouging the eyes out of figures of us. That would be the one for me where I think I'd be like...
You would leave with that?
Well, I think the others are like, well, that's in his past, and he's just trying to right his wrongs. I think he could... I don't know. I mean, I still would be like, what, a murderer? But I think it's Andy has this agenda, obviously, because he hates us. And that's why he's trying to get to you.
Yeah, I guess after that, the third thing, you can. It seems like menacing because if she doesn't, because there's no figures of his sister. I mean, of
because she wasn't on the team.
So maybe he just they just treat her so bad.
Yeah,
I hate them.
Or the fact that it's he has. Sure, he went to jail and then he got out and he's embarrassed, so he switched his name. That has nothing to do with me. But this other part seems to be like that has to do with me. Anyway. But Vanya's like, no. You're just you're jealous. I don't know if she doesn't say you're jealous, but you're meddling.
I mean, even
meddling.
if it,
I love him. She
even
says
if he'd turned over a new leaf, you'd think by now he might say, there's something you should know about.
Right. Yeah. By the way,
he might.
Here's my real name and what I did.
Yes.
Especially when it was his dad. It was abusive dad.
Yes.
He was like, look, it was self-defense. It wasn't, but whatever.
No, right. And two. It's like, here we are in the house of my father and my family. So, that's a good time to say, you might want to,
But, so Vanya's having none of it.
No.
And Allison keeps saying, we need to get out of here. But just, there's this sense of inevitability about this scene where you're like, oh, come on now. Just somebody act rationally just for a second. But Vanya's not going anywhere, and Allison's not going anywhere.
Given some of the rules that you've seen, not rules, but I mean in terms of TV, it's like, we're starting to see a lot of backstory. Is the person going to make it out of this episode? Yeah. We saw a lot of backstory for Vanya in this episode.
And a lot of backstory for Allison.
That's true, yeah. So, there you go. You had a coin flip for that.
Get ready.
They could have taken each other out, like in Rocky 2.
So, Vanya gets outraged, and what really pushes her over the edge is when Allison tells her, hey, by the way, this all makes sense now. You do have powers, and I knew that, but our dad, when I was a kid, made me do the I heard a rumor on you to say, I heard a rumor that you think you're ordinary. And so I'm the reason you've had all these problems for decades. Voila! All right, so she throws that bomb on her. And Allison, Vanya, gets angry.
Yep, she does.
You would, probably.
Hothead.
Oh, great. You screwed me over big time and never told me until now. So she's very upset. Yes. In the moment, she's very upset. Yes. And she's like causing waves of force to come out of her. And she's like, get out of here! And stuff, shaking and breaking. And she even says like, I'll bet you look me in the eye and tell me you don't feel threatened right now. Like, okay. Answer yes. So, obviously, if you were to try to not have a conflict in a show, Allison would say, you know what, you're right. We'll talk later. I'm out of here. Goodbye. Yeah. I'll call. Anyway, and so get out of that room. Because it was multiple times. Yes. Vanya's like, get out. Yes. Get out. Okay, got it. Got it. Nope. Allison's like, no, if I stay here, I can convince you. And I get that notion. I mean, it's not like a completely unbelievable reaction.
No, it's not.
But it's just like, you're just a dumb idea. Yes. Oh, boy. And so then, to even make it worse, she's like, don't make me do this. All right. I guess it's time to use that power that I just told you I did on you and screwed your life over. I heard a rumor, and wham. So she gets her throat slit. By the end of this episode, it looks like Allison is dead.
Yes, it does.
We have Luther holding her body, limp body, crying. Yep. And there's blood everywhere coming out of her neck. You know, the throat slit is kind of like the neck snap.
It is.
Where it's like, oh, all right, that's pretty...
and the bullet to the head there.
The bullet to the head is one. By the way, this is a little bit of an aside.
And if you see the body falling from a great distance and bouncing on the...
if it bounces. But if it just falls and you cut, there's a lot of stuff could happen there.
That's right.
Darth Maul, he hits spider legs and come back. But 5 is shot at some point.
Yes.
Was he shot by the commission, the handler in the commission? Is that when she was shooting at him and then he bamfed out? Like way back when? When did that shot happen? Because he talks to them. He has a meeting. He's like, we need to go out. And then he's like, I don't feel so good. But it's been a long time. He's been holding that bullet.
Yeah, it's in the commission. And then he's like, okay, I got to tell you guys the plan or whatever. And then at some point, I think he's like, boy,
because they went and investigated Harold Jenkins' place. Right. That's where he falls out. And they're like, oh, you have a bullet wound. I'm like, good Lord.
Yeah.
That dude's been hiding that thing for hours.
Yeah, dumbass.
All right. Anyway. I just wondered if there was like a shot that I'd missed where it was like, oh, we got shot at and I just barely avoided it, but I didn't. Okay. But he did, but it was from a previous episode. Okay. So, all right, let's take it back then. So Harold Jenkins, we find Harold Jenkins is Leonard Peabody, and he's got a personal grudge against the Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, he does.
Hates them.
Gets
out of jail. He goes and he's stalking the house, and he sees Klaus throw away the journal.
Right.
Goes and digs it out of the trash. Bum, 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 bum. Journal tells him all he needs to know about Vanya.
Yep.
Sees that she's actually really powerful, but that she's being held back. We see flashbacks to Vanya as a kid. So Reginald is trying to, bring out her gifts through sound. He's like, uses a tuning fork.
Yes.
Again, back to this violin idea, but so like concentrate on the sound, and then she breaks a glass, and again and again, and he pushes her too far, and then he scolds her, makes her angry, and she breaks all the glasses at once, including his monocle. Like, and he got a little blood in his eye. It's like, oh, okay, you're dangerous. Put her in a giant container and lock away the key. So they put her in a vault, essentially, and then he has Allison tell her, he drug her, and tell her that you're ordinary.
Yes.
So in some ways, it seems like he's just given up on her.
Yeah.
Like another giving up on her being helpful.
Yes.
Like he doesn't know what to do with her as a person.
Yes.
It's like, okay, you're dangerous to me as a person, and you're too dangerous for me to use in your group, so I'll just put you away. I mean, he does. He takes her on missions. Like
right.
She's with him eventually, so she gets out of there.
I suspect, though. I mean, partly because someone who's seen the whole thing kind of gave me a hint. Suspect that we'll learn more about why she's in there.
Oh, okay. So it's just Anyway, so he's given up on her being useful. He thinks, I think, that she's too uncontrollable to risk. And so, there's this horrible betrayal where Allison... I mean, I don't blame Allison in the moment as a little girl going, the dad's like, say the thing. Okay. Right. But it seems like in the years later, she might have brought that back around.
I guess we really don't know. I certainly don't know. But we know that Reginald had an idea that they needed to come together because he told Klaus that when he died.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And also that is because of this apocalyptic event. Right?
Yeah, somehow he knew the apocalypse was coming.
Right.
And
so
they addressed that in these episodes,
we're
but we don't know why.
That it has to do with Vanya, then, that maybe that's, all part of the thing. Like, okay, she's this problem when she's growing up, and now see it's going to be a problem.
Although you could also say that maybe the fact that she was abused the way she was turned her into a more lethal creation.
What was the abuse?
The abuse was throwing her into a vault and then telling her, like, you're nothing. And then obviously having the person kill you're ordinary.
Well, I mean, yes, but
take drugs.
Right. Well, is somebody perhaps right? One thing we don't know. I'm wondering.
I'm saying emotionally, she was stunted, perhaps. Whereas maybe if she had been treated better, she might have been more well adjusted, and she wouldn't become what we assume is this big villain.
Perhaps. I mean, one thing we saw, and it didn't make any sense to me, especially like the first time when she was had an emotional outburst, it was just because I guess she got tired of being told what to do. I mean,
right. He gets angry at her, like, you will keep doing this stuff.
Yeah. So she got mad at that, and so then she did that thing. I think we're going to see, though, that she's, if what I heard, I understand
other occurrences.
Before she was put in the thing. Although, you could definitely call what he did to Klaus as abuse.
Right, where he locks Klaus in a crypt.
Right, so that's his way to... Yeah, it's like, So maybe it is that. I don't know.
And I'm not saying... Well, I think this goes back to that statement that we hear. I think it's in episode 1 when all the kids come back from the funeral. And Pogo, I believe, is talking to Vanya. I could be wrong on that. But and he says, in talking about Reginald, he says, well, he cared for you in his own way. And the response is, and that's the problem. And I think that really is, we see this guy, Reginald Hargreaves, who he apparently saw an apocalypse coming, wanted to prepare for it, wanted to prepare these kids for that eventuality. And in that way, he did, for instance, he even asks Klaus in this, we'll talk about the visitation of his spirit, but he asks how Luther's doing, even though he sentenced Luther off to a pointless mission on the moon.
Yes.
In his mind, he was keeping him ready, keeping him prepared, didn't want him to wallow in grief. It's like, no, keep him battle ready for when the time comes.
In grief?
Well, because he...
Grief about the loss of the team? Right. Okay.
Giant gorilla thing.
Right.
And so, he banished him for years. For Klaus, he locked him in a crypt.
Yeah.
He was not...
Father of the year.
His parenting was pretty horrible. But yeah, so the way that he raised these kids is a very dysfunctional setting. He was, I suppose, doing what he thought was best, but it's his actions that have really led to this really dangerous place that we're in now. So we still get, they have the meeting in the day that was. It's because they had to try to have a meeting in the day that wasn't, but it didn't really work out. But now that they got number 5, theoretically, or they know he's a gunshot.
Yeah.
They had the meeting. They're like, all right, we got to solve the problem. Here we go. They still kind of split up a little bit. Like, But Luther still finds out about the moon thing. It's like, I'm going to stay and find that research.
Yes.
That must have been linked.
Yep.
Dad wouldn't have.
Nope.
Still gets depressed about it.
Yep.
But now
he's in a bar because Allison's not there.
Allison's not there. And so he ends up going to a bar. He takes ecstasy, looks like some kind of drug.
Oh, I forgot about that part.
And he's takes off his shirt. He's dancing. He has sex for the first time. Yep. Klaus goes to try to save him, kind of on the advice of the number 6, the ghost of number 6.
Oh yeah.
It's like, you need to save him. And so, Klaus is trying to look after Luther. It's a nice little turnabout because Luther's always looking after everyone else. Yeah. So in this case, Klaus is trying to return the favor. Kind of does. But in his attempt to stop, what seems like a jealous boyfriend from bopping Luther in the head with a baseball bat, at least temporarily, Klaus is killed. He's lying on the floor of this dance club, and that's where he ends up meeting what he hopes is going to be Dave, his true love, and it's not. It's his adopted dad.
Yeah.
Who's angry at him for not coming sooner. Why weren't you're just a horrible layabout. You have so much potential, and you're not living up to your potential. And anyway. So we do hear, though, we had theorized, we guessed that Reginald had died of unnatural means, and that it wasn't one of the kids that did it. I think we'd had the thought that maybe it was Pogo, and we're kind of right. So it turns out Reginald Hargreaves committed suicide in order to bring the kids together, because he feels like if he had just called them on the phone, none of them would have come.
Right.
But he needs them to come together because he somehow senses the apocalypse is coming. Pogo and Grace, the robotic mom, were called. He had them facilitate. So they assisted suicide, essentially.
Yes.
So Pogo was in on it. So he committed suicide. That's how committed he was to this whole thing. Is I'll kill myself to bring you guys together. And again, it's his way, right?
He's never heard about faking your own death. I mean, come on.
Right. Or I'm really sick and I'm dying. Come here. I'm not really dying, but good. You're all here. Excellent.
Yeah, I guess they might need him to be dead to come. Okay. They might have needed that.
I killed Pogo, and it's horrible. Now
he's not human, so it should be okay.
Yeah,
I'm not going to jail.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Or he could
have shut off, their mother.
Which, by the way, it's Diego in the day that was. Again, he sees robotic mom walking around again, and it's like, huh? And which is, he has an attachment to her. It's just as funny. It's like,
well, everybody else treated her like she was dead too.
That's true. That's true. But it's just like she's a robot. You could turn robots back on. I don't know, like, what? How are you alive? I don't know. You plugged her back in. Oh, okay. But yes, she's still around. Diego tries to be the leader in Luther's absence and is bad at it.
Well, maybe they're just not inclined to listen.
Sure. I mean, but his methods. He's like, let's just break in, and he jumps through the window of the door, and Five's like, the door's open. You could have just walked through.
That's true.
So he's trying to be that, and also there was a pretty funny moment where they go like, look, we got to get in there and get this file on Harold Jenkins. Oh, well, yesterday I went and just bamfed in there.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no. I have a source. Like, no, let me just go. Bye-bye. Yeah. I'm the leader.
Right.
And so he goes with this extra stuff, which also gets him caught because eventually it's the guy that he meets with is like, oh, I'll turn you in now. And so he gets turned in we again predicted that perhaps he might get, or not framed, but that the cops would assume he killed his former girlfriend. Right. And they do, put him in jail. Although his friend then helps, helps bust him out.
Yeah.
So he spends most of the time in jail, so he gets separated from the group. He then gets out in time to try to convince Luther to stop the apocalypse, And that's also another fun scene. They're at the bar. Luther's still feeling sorry for himself, and they're like, "Look, we got to do this.
Yeah,
we got to save the world."
Right.
By the way, Allison is going to take on this killer by herself.
Right.
So why didn't you lead with that?
Yeah.
So they take off, and of course get there too late. Maybe he'll be mad.
That's right. Yeah. Maybe
you should have led with it. If you'd have only told me earlier.
I wonder though.
He'll be
how much time they would have actually gained.
Yeah, I agree. Good point.
Right, the time that I guess they could have, if they had talked to Klaus anytime during the night.
Right. So we do see the backstory on Allison when she used her power to shut up the kid.
Yeah.
So she's trying to read the kid a bedtime story. The kid wants to hear about the Umbrella Academy, so she tells her a story. That's kind of a fun little bit.
Yeah,
we see the animation of like all the little powers they use. Again, Klaus was not doing anything. Klaus was distracted, talking to a ghost. Yeah. He would be. Right? Yeah. And so then the kid's like, tell me another story. No, I don't want to. No, it's time to go to bed. Go to bed. I heard a rumor you were tired. I feel so tired. Yeah. The father sees what happens. That probably is what led to their breakup as well, I would think. Perhaps because, they get a divorce. We don't know exactly why.
That event did, but yes. Yeah. Yes.
So that
I thought you were suggesting that they had been broken up before then, but
no, I think that's
I
think they're married.
I think
happily or not, they're still married, whatever they are. And then this is like, and you are mentally controlling our kid.
Yeah.
And of course, in the next moment, she just walks over to Patrick and is like, I heard a rumor that you were okay with this. All right, great. All right, we're fine.
Yeah, she should have that. But
just a happy family. So what was it, do you think, she was trying to say when she got her throat cut by Vanya? She says, I heard a rumor.
Oh, right.
What was the rumor she was going to tell Vanya to make everything all right?
I feel like she would have tried to make her forget about it.
So I heard a rumor. You've never heard of Harold Jenkins, or never heard
that you. I never told you the story about you.
Okay. You think she would have gone that far? I think she might have just tried to get things fine in the moment. Maybe that would do it.
Well,
that would do it, but I mean,
I start with the thing that's the most threat to you.
I heard a rumor you forgot everything for the last 50 years. That was maybe a little too much. Okay, no, let me take that back. I heard a rumor that I just thought maybe it would be like that you're going to come with me right now, or something like that, or you will come peacefully with me out to the car. I don't know. I feel
like it's in the moment. You're not going to come up with the best, thing. So better.
I heard a rumor you stopped breathing. Oh God! Why did I went to the. Damn it. Okay. Yeah. So if you have an idea of what I heard a rumor was going to be before she got her throat cut.
Hopefully it's not revealed in the last 2 episodes, and people are like,
"Oh yeah, duh." So. Let's see. I know there's some other stuff. We had some good. So we've got Hazel and Cha-Cha. Obviously.
Oh yes.
That is a subplot that is happening that I still don't see how it's connecting, but I think at some point, Hazel and Cha-Cha are going to be at the scene of the apocalypse. I just don't know how they're getting there at the moment. They're trying to make Hazel into this like redeemed guy, and I'm still not buying it. No? I mean, I'm buying that he's redeemed, but I'm like, are we supposed to like him? Because he is up. I mean, he was killing and torturing people for cash. Yeah. Kind of tough to. I mean, in the recent past, like days ago. Yeah. Okay, but yes, at the moment he is seems to be like a reformed guy.
Yeah, well, because he's found love, so, but he is also, because actually it seems like his love for her, that he has recommitted to the idea of stopping the apocalypse.
So that's what you think he's doing when he goes off, is to stop the apocalypse?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't think it's because of concern for her, for Cha-Cha.
For Cha-Cha, because he could have dealt with that earlier. When he has her chained up, and she's like,
if
you don't kill me now.
It was all after, he's like, if you only had 3 days, what would you do? I just want to spend it with you. Okay, you don't understand this game at all. It's just like, there's no way to unravel it. There's nothing you could choose. Because he's like, well, given how much time we have to get there and everything.
Yeah, right. If you had a day to get there, do I have all time and space? And okay, I guess we need more than 3 days. So he leaves his true love at the hotel, and I do feel sorry for her in a way. I mean, she decided to go with him. She got rid of her, or she just put a sign up on her diner. It seemed like it's her diner. I thought she just worked there, but it seemed more like it's hers. So then Cha-Cha blows it up. So they're not coming back to that.
No.
And she's with this guy that she kind of hardly knows, and he's like, "Hey, I can't tell you why, but I have to leave now.
Yeah.
I'll be back." Like, that she's got to be all kinds of second thoughts. Have to be like, "What did I just do? What have I done?"
Now, what are the odds you give her for making it to the end of the series?
The only thing keeping her, I think, alive would be that she's so innocent that it's kind of like punching down to kill her a little bit. But I mean, in theory, if what Cha-Cha is saying is true, she'll get there because she's got the place where they went. Right. She's got the bird conservatory.
Yeah. So she'll go there, and if she wants to, she could just kill her right then. But since
she wants to wait for Hazel.
Since Hazel's not there, she might want to take her to Hazel.
Okay. Yeah. Because she wants to kill this one. I don't know.
Kill her slow or whatever. Yeah.
Donut woman.
Dolores or something. I don't know.
It's not Dolores.
No, Dolores is the
mannequin.
Dolores 2.
Dolores 2.
Agnes? Abigail? Anyway.
Agnes, maybe.
I think it's Agnes.
So let's talk about Cha-Cha for a second. So her motivation. We saw actually the reverse angle of all these things from the day that wasn't.
Yes.
So it was true that Hazel had the note that was sent to him by 5. Hey, kill Cha-Cha as well. And so he has the gun, and he's thinking about turning around and shooting her.
Yes.
Do you think? I thought after watching last of episode 6 that he knew Cha-Cha was standing behind him with a gun. I wasn't so sure after watching these episodes.
That feels like that would be stupid.
Of him to just stand there, right?
Yeah.
Like
it's like
And she's just standing there the whole time, for over a minute with the gun pointed at him. I mean, if he had turned around at any point, she probably would have had to pull the trigger.
What?
Well, what are you doing, son of a bitch? So a little unclear there, but basically, they come to their meeting in the mines. Like, let's drop. We're gonna cut the system. We're not gonna work for these people anymore. And even though there's only 3 days left before the apocalypse, we're done.
Yeah.
So I guess it's then when Cha-Cha sees that he's actually more committed to this woman, Agnes, than to him. She's more or less sacrificed her life, right? The apocalypse is coming, and she can't now teleport anywhere. She can't time travel because the agency's not going to send her off because she didn't kill Hazel. So when she's chained up, when Hazel has her chained up to the radiator, and she's saying, "I'm going to do all these horrible things," I think what she's trying to do is get him to kill her so that she can just end it. Because she's going to die anyway in 3 days. Just getting rid of me now. I don't want to be here for the apocalypse. What can I say to you right now that'll make you shoot me, and I'll be done?
Well, I mean, or just letting her sort of living out the anger in that moment, because obviously she's still driven by it. So not so much,
good point.
It's not like, let me say something to Rick, you kill me. It's like, you better kill me, because if not, I really will kill you.
She's a vengeful person.
Yeah, she is.
And she's still hot on. She's going to spend her last 3 days tracking down Hazel to try to bump him off and kill his true love.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not sure. At this point, we're not sure how they get derailed. Although you just noted Hazel might be going back to try to stop the apocalypse.
Yes.
Now.
Oh yeah.
In his own way. Okay. So that if Cha-Cha chases him, then she'll be there too.
Yes.
Perhaps.
Oh yeah. You come on. That's the. That's the biggest question they have is this one event. So you want to have as many people there for that event as possible.
So we saw Vanya getting her powers. She Harold stages this fight.
Yeah.
They take it too far, and actually her damage his eye to the point that he's a fake eye. But she then has this blast radius thing.
Kills 2 people?
2 people, critically injures the 3rd.
Right.
As soon as they were doing that, I was like, oh, because he can now talk and to say, oh, I was paid off to stay there. So we see her in the woods playing, and she can affect trees, and I mean, she's and it's all tied into her emotions apparently. So I had predicted in the first episode, in the video game terms, was she a healer or was she a glass cannon? All right, she's our glass cannon. She's our ranged attack, actually area of effect ranged attacks, and seems like a pretty formidable foe at this point. Although she's still learning what she's doing, I feel like the team is more powerful than her at this point,
probably.
as a collective. But, I have a feeling that's going to change because she needs to be a big threat at this point.
Right.
She is the threat, so...
Well, what? Yes. I mean, 5 powers that you could say is very powerful because he's able to go back in time and he can do a lot of damage real quick, right?
Yeah. I suppose you're right because Diego and Luther are physical powers.
Yeah.
And she could probably combat those pretty well. And then Klaus is Klaus.
Klaus is Klaus. Klaus is, sort of reconnaissance.
Although, interestingly, Reginald did drop that thing of like, you have a lot more potential.
Yeah.
That you just don't know about.
It'd be interesting. Yeah, it'd be interesting if he could either become ghost-like or...
Oh, that's true. If he could become ethereal.
His thing is, like, let's say maybe he could get killed many times and come back. Because he's certainly...
immortal.
So,
here's something that's been interesting, and I'm sure that you could come up with a reason for it, but because his whole thing was his powers hadn't worked forever because he's been doing all these drugs.
Yes. And
now that he's drug-free, his powers are coming back.
Yeah.
But during that whole time, Six was still hanging around him, and he could still see Six and talk to Six.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting that there's still, whether it was just because they were brothers or what the deal was, but somehow he still had the power to commune with Six, even though he was drugged up.
Right.
And he couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
It's just kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. Who knows if it has to do with their relationship, though. He wants to be there, and these people who don't really have a connection with him, maybe it's not until he's more sobered up that he can see them. Who knows?
We also, it wasn't a big mystery necessarily, but we did get confirmation that Six died violently.
Yes.
It wasn't like childhood illness took him out. Like he was probably on a mission.
Yeah.
Something horrible happened and he was killed off.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's about
Yeah.
So thanks a lot, everybody. We'll be back to do our final recaps of episode 9 and 10. Where does this go? I have a feeling the apocalypse won't happen. And we'll be back to talk all about it. Thanks, everybody. Bye.